Good morning. I see us now.
Good morning.
How is everybody? I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Happy what we're calling Black Horror Friday. I'm Tanana Reeve Dew. I'm an author and an instructor at UCLA.
And I'm Steve Barnes. I'm an author and the husband of this beautiful, talented lady right here. I'm also her co-host on our Afrofuturism live broadcast.
This is a special Black Horror Friday broadcast. Some of you have heard that writer-director Jordan Peele visited my class at UCLA. It wasn't a crash. He was invited. He surprised the students to talk about his hit film, Get Out, which I've been teaching this quarter in a course at UCLA called The Sunken Place, Racism, Survival, and the Black Horror Aesthetic.
So we just have a little something special for you, a little treat. So,
Yes.
Once again, our tech here can be a little clumsy because we're just coming from a place of how much can we share.
So let me tell you the background on this. I've been really careful with footage from Jordan Peele's visit to the class. It was pandemonium. After he came, it was all over the media. I literally came home and there was a message from TMZ looking for an exclusive. And I was like, whoa, this is crazy, the whole celebrity culture thing. And here's the thing. I have a lot of video. Steve has a lot of video. There are other students with video. One of my students live streamed his talk on Facebook Live while he was there, but she did it privately. And I think we all sort of, even without having a meeting about it, we were all like, we really want to protect this footage. I wanted to protect, first of all, the privacy of my students, obviously, and the questions they were asking. But I also wanted to protect Jordan Peele. There were things that he said about the rise of Trump, about his personal life, etc., that taken out of context, I was thinking, you know what, that could be a distraction from this great film that is Get Out, and the messages and the themes that have inspired me and other instructors around the country to incorporate it in our curricula, and to talk about the meaning of the sunken place. So this is your opportunity to get a sneak peek at some of what Jordan Peele said when he was actually at my class. And we were really excited. And this is Steve's footage, and I hadn't seen it before just yesterday. So I'm so excited because it doesn't include any of the questions from the students. It doesn't, it doesn't hurt anyone's privacy, and we can control what we show and what we don't show.
Okay, so shall we go to the footage?
Well, real quickly, for those of you who are not familiar, of course, Get Out is the most successful Black horror film ever. It's the most successful film ever based on an original screenplay. In our view, it's an Oscar-worthy film. And this course is a Black horror course, but we spent the first weeks talking about Get Out, because Get Out is the centerpiece. Get Out is the film that makes it possible to have a broader conversation about Black horror in an academic setting. So yeah, so yes, go to the YouTube, and while you're getting to the timestamp, I'll tell people, basically we had a scene from Get Out. I had a scene from Get Out playing for the students in the dark when Jordan Peele came into the classroom. And he snuck into a back row. He was wearing a hoodie, as you'll see. He has his hood down in this footage, but he was wearing a hoodie, and he sat in the back row, and I waited until the end of the clip, which had the students very riveted. And then I said, does anyone who can tell me what the director was trying to say?
Like that kind of personal experience?
Well, let him do it.
So, being the only Black guy at the event.
Oh, let me back it up. I need to. Sorry. So he raised his hand. He went to the front of the room, and he basically started answering questions. This question had to do with how he got the idea for Get Out, what it's like to be isolated in all white spaces. And something very funny happens at the end of the clip that I'm not going to set up. But this is him answering a question about how he came up with the idea for the film and what it's like to be the only one in the room.
And that's a lot. That's a lot. I mean, look, we're the minority, so a lot of our experiences are going to be being the only other in the room. Like, that's just going to come with the point of the movie for me was allowing the rest of the country and the world into what that perspective feels like. Because you realize, like, you could have somebody, you could have a white person in the theater of this movie recognize some of the microaggressions. You could even have somebody be like, oh, snap, you know what? I did bring up Tiger Woods. But even with that said, they can't possibly know how that person dealt with that. You're late for Get Out. How is that even possible?
So that's basically the end of the clip I wanted to show you. That's the end of the clip there. Back to us, I guess.
Okay.
So that was my favorite moment because just so you understand, there are two ways to enter that classroom. There's one door that was right in front of Peele, and there was the back door that he walked in. So this student had no idea Jordan Peele was going to be in the class that day. She hadn't excused tardiness because she has a conflicting class. But the way she walked in and interrupted the lecture, I just thought that was hysterical.
It was.
And he was so gracious to her. And you heard the laughter and you heard the energy of the students. It was such a special,
It really was. I loved it. I just loved it. There's that scene in Manhattan, I think it is, where the guy's having an argument about Marshall McLuhan in the movie line, and they actually pull Marshall McLuhan out, to answer the question. It was just like that in the class. I wonder what the director intended by this.
What did he intend? And he raising his like, oh, I have a question. And it was really funny, and it was a great day. And I'm grading midterms now where students are referring to things that were said in the course of that lecture, where they're referring to him non-ironically as Professor Peele, because it was that kind of talk.
Yeah,
and it really is. We can go back to the slides of his face, maybe.
Okay.
It's really an indication of why Get Out, and especially this notion of the sunken place, has been so inspiring, enlightening for so many people, because it's about the experience that a lot of us have had as minorities in the United States and around the world, but especially in the United States. So the course I'm teaching at UCLA goes back to the beginning of basically blockbuster Hollywood with The Birth of a Nation.
Yeah, where we are the monsters in Birth of a Nation.
W.E.B. Du Bois, The Comet, where the last survivors are a black man and a white woman. That was just to set the context for Get Out. And not only why these images are so explosive, but also why the film and this whole idea of the sunken place has had such a huge, huge impact.
I know that there's so many different ways to be human, and there's so many different ways to be marginalized. I think we're all marginalized in some ways. So I think that by going really specific and really deep into one of those aspects, it helps us to understand that sort of existential loneliness.
Yeah.
Whether we feel it as an individual, as we feel it as groups. Horror thrives on that sense of isolation, that sense that there is nobody there, there's nothing there. We're just, shimmying across a tightrope over the void.
Yeah.
And I think that it says some really beautiful, a good horror film either sends you shivering out of the theater or takes you on a roller coaster ride and delivers you safely back to the station.
Right.
I think that Get Out is more the latter. It is not despairing, because
No.
ultimately it says that we can connect. But it's if Peele had not meant it, if he had not put his actual heart into it, we would not have responded to it. It would not be genuine horror. It would be sort of namby-pamby, and it is anything but that.
And this slide right here is Jordan Peele on Stephen Colbert's Late Show, where they actually talked about my class, and he shouted out the teacher, Mrs. Deal, which was great. But what was so exciting for me was he talked about how smart the students' questions are. And those
they were.
Yeah, those of you who are teachers know how that warms your heart, because my students, let me just tell you, they really brought it to the questions. And what I was listening to the tape again, he's like, okay, yeah, I just need to unpack that question for a minute. Because they were such good questions.
I think it reminded him of his days at Harvard.
Maybe so. Maybe so.
I really do. I had the feeling that he felt like he was in the same position as the teachers who had opened his mind in college. And he was like, oh my God, it's a circle of life.
Right.
He's looking at himself, a class full of kids just like him, wondering what the world is going to be. And, they're so cocky and so smart and so scared at the same time.
Absolutely. So, once the all the press came out, and there was a lot of press the day it happened, that was a Twitter moment. It was trending. A lot of people have been asking me, oh, I wish, I could take that course. I'm not enrolled at UCLA. I'm not a UCLA student. Oh, I hate to miss this course. Well, Steve and I teach online webinars.
Yeah, and so
we
it's like,
realized, wait a minute,
yeah.
why don't we offer a public version?
Last week we kind of looked at
Place?
this and said we've been doing Afrofuturism, and that's fine. But what we want to do is these are times when people are feeling afraid.
Yes.
Horror deals specifically with fear. In other words, if we can help you help yourself, and those of you who are writers and want to be filmmakers, to create things from your heart, I feel that we can. This is part of that knitting the world together thing that is our commitment.
So basically what the course is, it's a black horror overview. Of course, Get Out is the centerpiece, but there are other horror films, some that you might not have seen. Ganja and Hess has been very difficult to find in recent years, and it's now streaming on Amazon. That's a part of the curriculum. You see in the left-hand corner, that's Dwayne Jones and Night of the Living Dead, George Romero.
You bet.
Peele talked about that with Colbert. Colbert challenged him over whether Night of the Living Dead is considered black horror. And we all have strong opinions about
I would
why
say
it is.
so.
Why it is, and you'll find out why in the course. Blackula, of course, and literature. Not just films, but short stories. Some writers you know, some writers you don't. Nalo Hopkinson, Kaya Shanti Wilson, Tanya LeBird, Cheshire Burke stories.
Wow.
Victor Laval, his graphic novel is in there. So this is basically The Sunken Place. It's called The Sunken Place, Racism, Survival, and Black Horror. But in addition to being in the course, and the course, by the way, is us lecturing, and also with special guests.
And we also have social media connections, and we'll be there. And especially during the first 200 people will be able to attend live. So we'll be right on there live answering questions and interacting with you.
And we forgot one major thing.
Yes!
Hello. We just saw Jordan Peele at a party a few days ago and asked him if he would be willing to appear on the online course like he did for my class. And he said yes.
He said, of course.
So yeah, he would love to. So we have, unless something comes up, we can't control that.
No, we've got footage. We've got footage of him. No matter what, we're going to have him there.
But hopefully he'll be able to Skype in and take part in the webinar with you, the students, who can write questions in the comment field and hopefully recreate the experience my students had. But like this card says, it's not just the Black Horror course, which I love the course. I'm in the midst of teaching it now. But we have a virtual screenwriting class that we did live last year and that we're now selling the video lectures from. We had a special guest for that class, Cheo Hadari Coker, who's the showrunner for Luke Cage. And it's a 4-week screenwriting class that you can start immediately after signing up.
The online class, the webinar that we're doing of the
Black Horror class.
The Black Horror class will start on January the 13th.
Yeah, it's not.
But you'll receive your first screenwriting class within probably 12 hours.
Right.
I send everything out personally. So, if I'm driving, when you send in your order, don't take it personally. I'll get on it. I'll jump on it the instant I can.
So whether you're an artist, a fan, a film student, maybe you've never tried writing screenplays, this is a screenwriting class that is designed for new screenwriters, but also could be helpful if you've already written a few screenplays. We also include a lecture of mine in MP3 to non-reduce secrets of a writer's life. For those of you who are authors, I have another lecture on writing the thriller. Steve has a great lecture writing the horror screenplay.
That's complete professionally produced video.
And we're going to do a second live webinar as a part of this package, 0 to 60 million, which is basically crowdfunding. How do you make a film starting from nothing? Using the example of our film, Danger Word, which we crowdfunded.
And your little film.
And I did a little film on my own.
So basically, literally, if you have no resources and no connections, but you've got heart and talent and drive, we're going to show you how to go from 0 up to $60 million budget and beyond. If that's what you have the heart to do.
But of course, the centerpiece for it all is Jordan Peele's fantastic film, Get Out. All of the messages, all of the themes, everything that's embedded in there, unpacking it, understanding the sunken place, which is the concept that has so captured so many people's imagination. So if you'd like to be a part of this, we have a special Black Horror Friday price until December 1st. Go to www.sunkenplaceclass.com, www.sunkenplaceclass.com. Sign up for a friend. It's good for a gift. It's good for yourself. The price will go up after December 1st, although it will continue to be on sale, but you don't want to miss this Black Horror Friday price. So thank you for joining us. I'm so excited we got to share that footage.
Oh God,
of
I
a student
just
walking in.
I love that footage. I loved the entire class. Jordan Peele seems to be not just brilliant, but very sincere, very open-hearted. He wants to share so much. And go to our faces?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's just say goodbye to everybody.
Let's say goodbye to everybody.
Yeah, he really
Hold on.
was. He was really open, and that's the reason, honestly, I wanted to be so careful with that footage. I mean, when TMZ is calling, that's money, right? I guess.
No.
But we weren't going to sell footage.
No.
From the class, so we just wanted to share it with you guys, really.
We can share it with you.
What the class will be like, the kinds of insights he has. That was just a brief sliver of a moment on what it's like to be the only one in the room. But believe me, he had a lot to say about what brought Get Out to life, what his experiences have been, the messages he was trying to embed in the film, and also answering your questions. So thank you so much. Remember, www.sunkenplaceclass.com, and everybody have a great Thanksgiving weekend.